Miss Marisol Baldwin.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Good morning, Ms. Baldwin. Could you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Marisol Baldwin, it's Marisol
And Ms. Baldwin, where are you employed?
Nashville Fire Department.
How long have you been with NFD?
9 years and 8 months
How are you currently employed with Nashville Fire?
as a paramedic.
How long have you been a paramedic?
About almost 2 years.
And what was your employment prior to becoming a medic with Nashville Fire?
An advanced EMT.
Okay. And how long were you an EMT?
6 years and 4 months.
Can you explain to the jury what the difference is between a medic and an EMT, please?
Yes. So the EMT is trained in basic life support, and they're also going to be responsible of the ambulance driving to and from calls. They're going to be assisting the paramedic, but they're not responsible for any advanced life support.
And were you on duty on February 25th of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. In what capacity were you working on the 25th?
I was working as an advanced EMT.
And on the 25th, did you respond to an incident located at 1522 Lebanon Pike, apartment 107?
Yes.
And is that here in Davidson County?
Yes.
Do you recall what type of incident you were initially responding to?
I believe our CAD system said allergic reaction.
And were you in the ambulance
Yes.
as the driver or the passenger?
Driver.
And did you respond to that apartment with lights and sirens?
Yes.
Why?
That's our policy. Every call gets lights and sirens.
Okay. And do you recall what you initially witnessed when you arrived at the apartment complex?
As we arrived, we were led into the apartment and we found our patient lying in one of the bedrooms in the apartment. She was lying face down on a comforter.
Okay. Do you recall who led you to the apartment?
Yes.
Who was that?
You're pointing at someone.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Did you see a male that day?
Yes.
On the 25th? Okay.
Yes.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point him out, describe something he's wearing for the court?
Blue suit with white shirt and
Your Honor,
gray
correct
tie.
to reflect for identification of Mr. Taylor.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I could pass 2 photos of Taylor. Ms. Baldwin, do you recognize those photos?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I could publish the first photo, we have them on a PowerPoint, so it'll be digital.
Okay. Go to their computer.
Ms. Baldwin, what are we looking at?
This is the apartment. As you go in the front door, this is what we saw.
Okay, and the 2 females standing on the left, were they there when you arrived?
No.
Okay. Who do you remember seeing initially when you got to the apartment?
We saw the male there initially.
Okay, can you describe to the jury what the male's demeanor was like?
He was frantic, but not really giving us any really useful information for us.
Okay, and what do you mean by that?
We really had no idea why we were finding her in the state that she was in. So,
Okay. Can you describe to the jury what you mean by that, not finding her in the state she was in?
we were expecting to see signs of an allergic reaction. And we didn't see any hives on Miss Benning. We didn't see any swelling. We didn't have any answers to our questions that we were asking.
What were you asking?
If she was allergic to anything, because it did come in as an allergic reaction, and all he was saying was she ate bad food.
Was he able to give you any other information about, generally about who she was and her health history?
Not that I recall.
Okay. And when you got to the apartment, was that scene considered safe?
Initially, yes, but we didn't really have our firefighters there yet, and with uncooperative family or bystanders, we deemed it unsafe.
Okay. What do you mean by uncooperative family members?
The male there was kind of getting in our working space, and we couldn't properly assess and treat the patient.
Okay, what do you mean by that? That he was getting in your working space?
He wasn't letting us do our job. He was in our face, just trying, I don't know what he was trying to do, but we were trying to get her on our stretcher and wasn't following the commands that we were asking him.
Okay. And what commands were you asking him?
We usually don't want family in our working space, so we were probably telling him to step aside.
And where did you find the patient?
We found her in the bedroom to the right of this kitchen. She was on the bed. It looked like a comforter that she was on, and she was face down.
Okay. And is that the second photo that you have?
Yes.
And is that what we're looking at right here?
Yes.
And can you describe to the jury how she was laying on the bed?
She was laying horizontal, so not how you would typically sleep, where the pillows are. She was towards the end of the bed, and she was on her face down.
Okay. And at some point, did you roll Miss Benning over?
Yes.
Okay. And can you describe to the jury what you saw when you rolled Miss Benning over?
We rolled her over, and we immediately noticed that she was unresponsive. She didn't respond to us flipping her over on her back, and we noticed that she had some kind of fluid around her mouth.
Okay. Was that fluid any particular color? Do you recall?
It was like a light pink in color.
We've already kind of touched on this, but based on your experience, did it appear Miss Benning was suffering from an allergic reaction?
Not fully. That wasn't. We were definitely trying to cross off multiple things that it could be, but it wasn't a typical response that we would see for an allergic reaction.
Was Miss Benning limp?
Yes.
And did Miss Benning have a pulse?
At what time?
When you got to her.
I don't personally remember checking it.
Would that have been something that the medic did?
Yes.
And at any point, did the male in the apartment try to touch Miss Benning?
Yes.
Okay, can you describe to the jury what happened?
So our firefighters were pulling their truck into the parking lot, so they were a little bit behind us, but we couldn't physically carry her, my partner and I, and he took it upon himself to do it, and we don't allow help from outside agency, like from our people, and he attempted to do that. So that's what I meant, that he wasn't listening to our commands, and then he eventually placed her on the floor right in front of the island.
Back to the other
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you kind of describe to the jury where he put this in?
So right in front of the island, just in that empty space, that's where he put her. And then when our firefighters got there, then we all lifted her and put her on our stretcher.
Okay, and then what did you do with Miss Benning?
We wheeled her to the ambulance.
any point do you recall someone else showing up?
Yes, a young lady.
And what do you recall about that young lady's demeanor?
She was hysterical. She was crying, asking us questions, trying to get inside the ambulance, looking in the windows.
And was this much different than the male's demeanor?
Yes.
Okay, how so?
She was crying. She kept asking us, is she going to be okay? Is she going to be okay? What's going on?
At any point did you see Mr. Taylor crying?
Not that I saw.
At any point did Mr. Taylor ask you if she was going to be okay?
Not that I can remember.
And once you got Miss Benning into the ambulance, what happened after that?
So she was put on the cardiac monitor. She had pads put on her. She had no pulse. We were doing compressions. We were doing a procedure where we stick an airway and breathe for her, starting IVs, giving epi, lots of things simultaneously happening.
And at what point did you transport Miss Benning?
Once my partner, she said she was ready, and we took firefighters with us, and then I think it was after 10 minutes of being there total time.
And did Mr. Taylor ever attempt to get in the ambulance with Miss Benning?
Not that I recall.
And where did you take Miss Benning?
Vanderbilt Adult ER.
And did you transport Miss Benning with lights and sirens?
Yes.
Okay, and why so?
She was critical.
What do you mean by that?
Cardiac arrest is deemed critical.
And at any point, did Miss Benning ever have a pulse?
Not that I can remember with us.
And once you got to Vanderbilt with Miss Benning, is that when you released care and that's when Vanderbilt took over?
Yes.
Your Honor, if you'll give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Miss Baldwin, who was the paramedic with you?
Andrea.
Okay, what's her last name?
It's Rose now. I believe it was Arwen at the time, or I'm sorry, Agral at the time.
Your Honor, at this time we would like to admit both photos as an exhibit 1A and 1B, please, and I'll pass the witness.
What those are given to you. All right, questions on behalf of Mr. Taylor?
Ms. Baldwin, did I get that right? Good morning, how are you?
Good morning.
Good. My name is Edward Jointer. I'm going to be asking you a few questions. If at any time you don't understand, please let me know and I'll try to rephrase. I want to just make sure I understood your role on that day. You were acting in what capacity?
I was an EMT at the time.
And one of the duties you described for EMT basic was basic life-saving measures, you said?
Correct.
And to be clear, you were the driver that day.
Correct.
And so when you arrived there, you said you were led into the apartment.
Yes.
Who was you led by?
Male that was on scene.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
So he assisted, he helped you all find the apartment.
I believe when we saw the hallway, he popped out of the apartment, but I can't exactly recall if he led us but he was there and said this is the apartment.
Is there a reason why you said he led us if you didn't feel he led you?
He showed us the apartment,
And that's assisting, correct?
telling us, yes, it's telling us where the apartment is.
Okay. And once you got into the apartment, 1 second, y'all, can I see Stacy Exhibit 1 and 2? Okay. 1A and 1B, I'm sorry. Commissioner Butler,
Okay. I'll switch it up.
now, these people that are in this photo, they were not there helping you, were they?
No,
Were they there when you got there?
no,
Do you know who these people are?
no,
Is this the entryway when you first come into the apartment?
yes,
And I'm going to now show you State's Exhibit 1B. Was this the bedroom where you found Miss Benning?
yes,
And I want to orientate you to this window over here. Was that window shade up when you entered the apartment?
I can't recall.
Because you all didn't take these photos, did you?
No,
So I want to talk to you a little bit about, you said that you received the call as an allergic reaction,
correct.
correct? Do you know what, if any, medical training Mr. Blaise Taylor has?
I do not.
And so if he described it as a allergic reaction, that was what he thought maybe was going on, correct?
Correct.
And you would agree with me that when you came into the apartment, you did see something around her mouth area when you checked her out,
She did have something around her mouth.
as if she had consumed something.
Possibly, I guess.
Okay. And so when you first arrived, you said that you and your partner was there. That partner, male or female?
Female?
And when you all came into the apartment, did you all have a stretcher?
We had it, but it was in the hallway, if I can remember correctly.
Okay. And at some point after you made you all's medical observations, you were made the determination to take Miss Benning to get medical attention.
Correct.
And you were going to do that by placing her on what?
On our stretcher.
Okay. And when you first came to the scene, you stated that she did not have a pulse.
I stated that I did not check her for a pulse.
And did you perform CPR?
Not, when?
When
In
you
the
first-
ambulance, I did, personally.
But not in the house.
Not in the house.
Did your partner perform CPR?
No.
So neither one of you all performed CPR when you all first got to the house.
That's correct.
At some point, you all were going to transport Miss Benning, correct?
Correct.
And you stated that it was Mr. Taylor who tried to assist you all in moving Miss Benning from the bedroom to the kitchen, correct?
Yes.
Because the goal was to get Miss Benning on the stretcher.
Correct.
And once she was on the stretcher, get her to EMS services.
Correct.
You would agree with me that that is consistent with someone that's trying to assist you.
Correct.
1 second. Now, Ms. Baldwin, you've been EMT for 9 years now.
EMT and paramedic, both in the 9 years.
Okay. And have you ever had an occasion where you showed up to the scene and you had to render CPR?
Yes.
Sometimes that's not uncommon depending on the situation, correct?
Correct.
And can you just educate this jury as to what are some instances where you would immediately perform CPR when you come upon a patient?
Can you ask that again?
Sure.
Just,
Can you educate the jury on what are some medical scenarios that you will perform CPR immediately upon arriving to a patient?
if a patient is pulseless, we would start CPR until we can get the cardiac monitor on them.
Okay. And is a pulse something you check upon reaching a patient?
Yes.
But just to be clear, you didn't perform CPR when you immediately came upon Ms. Benning, did you?
Correct.
No further questions from Ms. Williams.
We agree